journalist, and activist. He was active in the Occupy Wall Street movement and is the leader of the New York City branch of Workers' World Party.
This is an amazing conference. I mean, to look out in this crowd and see so many people from so many places here in this room to talk about fighting against injustice. I'm really happy to be here, and I just want to say, I want to just talk about, this is a youth panel, so I want to talk about first a common problem that a lot of young people experience when they're first getting into the revolutionary movement. And that's that they have some kind of hostility from their family. You know, it's usually coming from a good place. Their parents don't want them to get hurt. You know, they don't want them to get involved in the struggle. And I can recall, you know, an anecdote. When I was first getting involved, there was somebody in my family, and they said to me, they were from an older generation, they said to me, you know, when I was growing up, you know, I mean, if you want to be an activist, that's great. You know, you want to be an activist, be an organizer, that's great. You know, but when I was growing up, there were a lot of people being activists. You know, there was the Civil Rights Movement. There were people marching against the Vietnam War. There was this whole group called Students for a Democratic Society, I think it was called. But none of those people were communists. You know, well, this person was wrong, because all of those people were communists. There's not been a progressive struggle in the history of this country that Marxist, Leninists, and revolutionaries have not made a great contribution to. I'm very proud to be able to stand up here and be in this room, and I know this is the youth panel, but when I look out and I know our older comrades, I think back, I think about the fact that at one point this country, you know, the government of this country was bombing and murdering thousands of innocent people in Vietnam. And while that was happening, the comrades in this room, they weren't waving the flag, they weren't saying my country's right or wrong. They were running through the streets of this city and countless other cities with the flag of the National Liberation Front of Vietnam. And they were chanting, ho, 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 Chi Minh. And what's even more admirable is that so many people from that generation stopped marching. So many people, you know, kind of moved on when periods of reaction began. But the people in our party, the comrades in this room, they never stopped marching. They kept fighting. They never abandoned the revolutionary road, and that is extremely admirable. You know, the capitalist ruling class, they tell us that communists are, you know, that we're violent revolutionaries and that we're bomb throwers. And, you know, we know who the real bomb throwers are. That's the people sending the drones that kill people every day. It's the Pentagon. It's the forces. They have the biggest military in the world. They have a huge military apparatus, but they never stop thirsting for blood, because their thirst for blood is the thirst for profits. And it's we, the communists, the revolutionaries, we're the ones who protest their wars. We were out in front of the White House with 400, 500 Syrians when Obama was threatening to bomb Syria. We were out there and organizing. It's us, we stand and we oppose wars. No, we communists, we're not adventurous. We don't advocate isolated acts. We don't advocate individualism. We know that the revolution that is needed in this country is going to be a revolution that involves millions and millions of working class people being pushed into motion. But while we oppose isolated, individualistic, kind of adventurous acts, we've always been clear about one thing, and that is that oppressed people have the absolute right to defend themselves in any circumstance. When oppressed people are under attack, they have the right to fight back. It's that simple. When the Black Panther Party mobilized in Oakland, you know, with police patrols, following the racist cops around, protecting people in the neighborhoods, that was one of the most important developments in the history of the class struggle in this country when they did that. It was a step forward. And now the Black Panther Party, they didn't just do those patrols, they did a free breakfast program. They were organizing. It was a household name, the Black Panther Party. And in addition to that, you know, they did educationals, teaching young people about Marxism and revolutionary ideas. And at the time, you know, the response of the capitalist government of the United States to the Black Panthers was brutal FBI repression, brutal state assassination. Bobby Hutton, Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, and countless others gunned down and murdered. But while the government of this country was persecuting and murdering the leaders of the Black Panther Party, there was another government on the other side of the world that welcomed a delegation from the Black Panther Party, called for the Black Panther Party to come to their country. And when they arrived, they gave them a huge parade and honored them. And you know what country that was? That was the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. When Kim Il-sung met the Black Panthers, he made clear that the people of Korea were fighting against the same capitalist, billionaire, exploiting class that oppresses African American people in this country. And that they had a common enemy. The Korean people have for so long been fighting to reunify their country. The southern part of Korea is still occupied. There's a young man in Korea, I think he's 21 years old. He's serving 2 years in prison right now. And you know what his crime was? It was retweeting, on his Twitter page, retweeting some pro-North Korea statements. That's the so-called democracy that the U.S. is quote-unquote defending in South Korea. The leaders of the Unified Progressive Party, a party that has been fighting for justice, have been rounded up and are facing very, very serious criminal charges. But the U.S. imperialists aren't going to get into North Korea anytime soon. The people of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea are striving for the peaceful reunification of their country, and they're striving to defend themselves. And one thing that they've done in order to secure their defense is that they feel that the best thing for their national defense has been the development of nuclear weapons. And we as a party support them. Because whenever oppressed people are under attack, Workers' World Party is on their side. It's that simple. All across this country, there are a lot of young people who are really suffering right now. You know, we chant, "We can't survive" on 7/25, but it's not just a chant or a slogan, it's a reality. You know, there's a whole generation of young people who are looking ahead to nothing but a future of unemployment, low wages, prisons, and something needs to be done about that. And, you know, people aren't really that hostile to socialism. A lot of young people are very open to hearing Marxist and class struggle and revolutionary ideas, but sometimes when I go out and I sell Workers' World newspaper or I talk to people, occasionally I'll just experience a little bit of hostility. But you know what? People are never hostile to me because I'm a communist. People are never hostile because I'm a revolutionary. If they look over it and they say, you know, you're talking about bills and laws and all of that. You sound like a politician. You sound like just another politician. And young people, like all working people, have the right and have become very skeptical of politicians. Why? Because they've been betrayed so many times. How excited were so many people when Obama took office? Or what did other people say? Wait till his second term, then he'll be better then, you know? Now with New York's new mayor, Bill de Blasio, so many people have been excited. And if we want to capture the energy of the young people in this country who are making low wages, we have to make clear we're not just another political party like the Democrats and the Republicans. You know, this country, it began with slave ships, and now there's 2.5 million people in prison. We're not going to waste our time trying to fix it up. We want to overthrow and overturn the capitalist system in this country. That's what we want. We want a revolution. There's a lot of confusion, especially since the collapse of the Soviet Union. There's a lot of confusion. A lot of the nonprofits and NGOs like to tell people that Marxist-Leninists and Leninist parties, you know, these are groups that think that they're better than the workers. They're an elitist group. Well, no, being a revolutionary and being a communist is about putting the masses first and yourself last. It's about giving your life to the struggle, giving your life to organizing and fighting back against the capitalist system. You know, we are a party of fighters. We're a party of people who are dedicated to bringing this system down, dedicated to studying the science of Marxism, Leninism, the only method that has ever brought this system down, dedicated to being with our class in the struggles, whether it's union struggles, struggles against police brutality, anti-war and anti-imperialism, wherever our class is. And before, you know, especially the folks who aren't from New York, when you step outside today, I want you to look up. And I want you to look up at all the buildings here in New York City. I want you to realize that all those buildings began with a blueprint. It was a blueprint. And then they went to the construction workers and the electricians and the engineers, and they built their buildings. Well, the capitalists have a blueprint, and it's unfolding all around us. It's low wages, it's more and more cops, it's endless war and drones and surveillance. That's their blueprint. And the only hope we have as the working class is to start building a blueprint of our own. And we have the basis for that blueprint. Why? We've got the writings of Marx and Lenin. We've got the life of Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner. We've got the legacy of Che Guevara. We've got Amilcar Cabral. We've got the Marxist vision. Every day we're fighting for a future where people have jobs, health care, and education. Our message is this simple. In this country right now and all over the world, the banks and the factories and the industries and the land and the oil wells and the natural resources are private property. They're owned by a small group of wealthy owners. And we say it doesn't have to be that way. We say that people can take control of the banks, factories, and industries. They can seize them for themselves, and they can organize the economy in order to put people first and not for profit. That's the message. It doesn't sound that radical. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. But it's going to be a long, hard fight. We would be deluding ourselves if we said it's going to be easy. We're looking for people in Workers' World Party who are ready to give themselves for the long, hard, dedicated message to bring this system down. That's what we're fighting for, and I'm glad to be at this conference. I'm glad to be here. I can feel the energy in this room, and I can't wait to march with you all at 6 o'clock. So thank you.